Hello, and welcome to the fifth of the Trellus Zoom workshops. My name is Shannon, and I'm the computer skills teacher at Trellus. And today's workshop is artificial intelligence, or AI. I'm going to be presenting this today, Monday, August 20th, and I will be repeating it on Wednesday, August 12th. This is the fifth workshop. There's one more workshop after this, and that is next week, and that is creating with Canva. So if you have any information about that one, please let me know after this presentation. So I'm going to show you this slideshow presentation, and then we will go directly to the internet and use the artificial intelligence websites that I'm going to show you in today's workshop. So let's get started. So these are the objectives, and the first objective of today's artificial intelligence workshop is to explain what artificial intelligence, or AI, is. Then I'm going to show you a slide about AI data, what AI can do, and also that AI can make mistakes, tips for writing good prompts, tasks that AI can help you with, staying safe using AI, and then also 4 different artificial intelligence websites that are also apps. So ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, and Claude. So those are the 4 we're going to be talking about today. But let's begin with what AI is. So AI is technology that basically allows computers to perform tasks that normally require human intelligence. So this might include learning, problem solving, understanding language, and making decisions. So if you've used AI before, you know that the technology can answer questions, write text, translate languages, summarize information, create images. You can also edit images, and it can also help you solve problems. Now, AI can do a lot of things, but it doesn't mean that AI doesn't make mistakes, and that's based on the data. Now, you are actually already using AI. So if you have done a Google search before, you might see a artificial intelligence or an AI summary of what you have searched for at the top of your search result. If you have used Google Maps, it uses artificial intelligence to help you reach your destination if you're using it for directions. It also uses artificial intelligence for information such as, is the location of the store or the museum that you are going to busy or not busy? If you use the Netflix streaming service to watch movies or series, it will give you recommendations of what to watch based on what you've watched previously. If you've used facial recognition to open apps on your phone, that's a form of AI. If you have used email spam filters, if you're using Gmail, AI can help you identify or helps identify if an email may be a spam or a phishing attempt. So that is an example of how you're using AI in your daily life especially if you're using Gmail. Also, online shopping suggestions, and this is based on what you might have shopped for or searched for previously. So if you are shopping online, or you're streaming movies or series or music, or if you're using a mapping system, or you're just searching the internet, all of these are forms of AI that you're probably already using in your daily life. So let's start with, where does AI get its data from? So AI is trained on specific data. Now, that data might include books, it could be articles and websites, it could be research papers, publicly available information. It might be educational materials that's available online, and also on examples of human writing and conversations. Now, during its training, AI looks for patterns in all of the information that it is trained on. Now, it doesn't memorize everything word for word. Instead, it learns relationships between words and ideas and concepts, and it recognizes patterns so that it can generate answers for you. Now, the AIs are trained on different data depending on which AI platform you are using. But do know that AI can make mistakes. So AI cannot know if the data it learned from is correct. It also doesn't know if the information is outdated, which the information AI is trained on might be outdated. The information also might be false. It might be untrue. So AI is not able to determine if it is real or if it is false. When you are interacting with AI, it might not understand the question that you're asking it. So you might have to ask AI the question in a different way more than once. AI might show bias depending on how it was trained and the data it was trained on. AI might make up information. It might try to fill in the blanks and make up its own information to provide an answer. Now, AI will lack common sense, and it does not experience the world like a human being does. So, where AI is very, very helpful, it can also make mistakes. And these are just some of the mistakes that AI can make. Now, when you are interacting with AI, especially on the 4 different AIs that I'm going to show you today, your interaction with AI will be via a prompt. Now, whether you are writing a prompt or you are speaking a prompt to artificial intelligence, a prompt is the instruction that you're giving to AI. So the more instruction, the more details that you are giving to AI, the better your answer is going to be. And I've put a AI prompt formula on the screen that you're seeing right now. So a good prompt formula would be details such as who, what, why, and how. And I'm going to show you some prompts on the next screen that use that formula: who, what, why, and how. Because again, the more detail you give AI, the better the output, the better the answer you're going to receive. So here's some examples of AI prompts. So the first one, instead of just asking AI to tell me about dogs, give it more detail, such as explain why a dog is a good pet for a family. Now that's much more detail. You're asking it for something much more specific. And remember that formula is who, what, why, and how. Another example, instead of just a very simple prompt, such as write an email, you would want to give it more detail. Write a friendly email thanking someone for an interview. So the who would be whoever interviewed you. You're telling AI you're thanking someone for an interview. The what, write a friendly email. The why, because you're thanking someone for the interview. And the how in an email. So instead of write an email, write a friendly email. All right, the next prompt. Instead of help me prepare for an interview, you could ask, give me 10 interview questions for a customer service job. So the who, you're the person who is going to be interviewing. The what, 10 interview questions. The why, you are being interviewed for a customer service job. And how, give me 10 interview questions. So AI would then answer with 10 interview questions for a customer service job. Let's look at the next one. Instead of help with math, explain how to solve 2-step equations with examples. So the first prompt would have been help with math, very simple, very generic. But instead, you're going to give it more detail. Explain how to solve 2-step equations with examples. The who is for you. You're asking AI to explain. The what, explaining 2-step equations with examples. The why, because you need an explanation. And the how, 2-step equations with examples. So more details in your input or your question or your direction will result in a better output, a better answer. So the prompt is probably what you're going to need to practice the most when you're using artificial intelligence. So here's a list of some tasks that you may or may not already be using artificial intelligence for. If you or someone in your family or someone in your household is doing homework and needs help with homework for school or learning, recipes, you might be looking for something to cook, something to bake, and you can ask AI to find a specific recipe for you. Now, for example, if you were asking AI to find a recipe for baking bread, you would want to give more of an input, such as, please find me a simple recipe to bake gluten-free bread. So more detail, better answer. Job searching. So instead of asking AI, help me find a customer service job, you might want to prompt it with, help me find jobs in Chicago, or help me find customer service jobs in Andersonville, in Chicago, full-time. So the more details that you give it, the better your answer. Same with resume writing. You could ask AI to write you a resume, or you can ask it to write you a specific type of resume, a resume for a teaching position, a resume if you are in customer service, a resume for an entry-level data job. So the more detail that you give AI, the more answer, the better output you'll receive. Other tasks might be travel planning. Find you an airline ticket, or find you an airline ticket from Chicago to New York on a particular day in a particular price range. Shopping online, asking AI to help you find something on the internet or in the inventory of a local store. How to learn a language. You could use AI to help you translate documents or websites or help you pronounce a word. Budget planning. You can give AI information about a particular budget, such as an income number and then how much you need to save to reach a particular financial goal. You can ask AI to help you write a letter or to create a presentation or summarize a long article or book. So these are just some examples of what you can use AI to help you with on a daily basis. Now, as you are creating your inputs, those directions, those questions that you're asking AI, there are some things you're going to want to consider. Never share your personal passwords with artificial intelligence. Never share personal information, and that includes your social security number, any medical information, such as a diagnosis. No bank information. Don't share exact banking information with artificial intelligence. No routing numbers, no checking numbers, no details, and no private family information. Don't use names and addresses and phone numbers when you are creating your input for AI. You need to remember to treat AI like a public website. Okay, so just imagine what you're asking AI. Would you ask it that if that information was publicly available on the internet? So just keep that in mind. AI can be very helpful with your tasks, but don't give it personal information. So the 4 AIs that we're going to look at today, we're going to look at ChatGPT. ChatGPT is in the top 10 most popular websites used on the internet. It was created by OpenAI, and it is very good for writing, learning, explaining difficult ideas, summarizing documents and articles, coding, and creating and changing images. Now, you can use ChatGPT without an account. You can use it for free, and you can also download the app and put it on your device. If you are using a free account, there is a limit on how many interactions you can have with ChatGPT in one use. The next one we're going to look at is Copilot, and Copilot was created by Microsoft. So it works very well with Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, and also with Outlook email. It's integrated into email, document creation, spreadsheets, and presentations. So if you're already using Microsoft programs, you've probably noticed Copilot is in the ribbon or the toolbar of whichever program you're using. And then there's Gemini, which you may have used if you're currently using Google as a search engine or Gmail. Gemini was created by Google. It works well with Google Search, with Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, and Google Gmail. So this is one of the apps when you are signed into your Google account, you're signed into your Gmail, and you click on the 9 dots for Google Apps, you will see this icon there so that you can use Gemini with the Google products that you're using. And then there's Claude. Claude was created by Anthropic, and it's very, very good for reading, writing, and research, and is popular with students. And I have not used Claude for any image alterations or image creation, but I have used it for more academic reasons, such as reading, writing, and research. Okay, I'm going to end this slideshow now, and I'm going to take you to my internet, and we're going to look at each of these 4 artificial intelligence platforms. Okay, I'm going to share my screen here again, and we're going to start with ChatGPT. So let me share my screen. All right, so you are looking at ChatGPT, and you'll notice up here in my toolbar that the website address is chatgpt.com. Now, this is also a free app that you can download to your device. I am currently signed in to my ChatGPT account. I have a free account, and I'm currently signed into my ChatGPT account. And I can then see a history of the inputs, the questions that I have asked ChatGPT, as well as the answers, the output that it's provided to me. But we're going to start with a new one today. We're going to ask it to do a couple of things, and we'll see how many inputs, how many questions I can ask ChatGPT, in the next few minutes, and see what it creates for me. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to actually upload an image that I have on my desktop, and I'm going to ask it to change the image. So I'm going to click on the plus sign here, and I'm going to add a photo from my computer. I have a picture of some cardinals, some birds. So I'm going to upload that picture. Now, this is not a picture that has, people that I don't know in it. This is just a simple picture of birds. And I'm going to see if we can ask ChatGPT to alter the image. So I'm going to give it a very specific input. Can you, and I'm going to be nice and use the word please, can you please add a squirrel to this image? Now, it's a simple image. Let's see if I can show it to you. It's a simple image of a male and a female cardinal, which is the state bird of Illinois. And I'm going to ask it to add a squirrel to the image. So it's a very simple prompt, but very specific. Can you please add a squirrel to this image? And I'm going to send the prompt. Now, you'll see here that it is working to create the image. This, again, is the original image, the female and the male cardinals on this tree branch. And let's see if it's able to add a squirrel to my image. Now, I gave it a very specific prompt, adding a squirrel, but I didn't give it a lot of detail. I didn't say a black squirrel or a brown squirrel or where to put the squirrel. So I did give it a specific prompt, but I didn't give it a lot of specific details. Oh, and there's the squirrel. Okay, so this is the original picture. And this is the ChatGPT altered image. And it put a squirrel down here. It looks like he's kind of hanging off the tree and his tail is, is curled around the tree. So that was pretty good. Now I'm going to upload another image. And this image, I'm going to actually upload my own picture. So I'm going to click on the little plus sign here, plus sign where it says add images, and I'm going to choose another one from my desktop. This is just a picture I have Now, this is specifically a picture of me, and there's no personal data on here, but it is my personal image, and I am going to ask it to change it. Can you please change my hair color to black and add red glasses to my face? Okay, now this is the original image. Let me show you. Oh, that looks like it deleted it. Let me add it again. Okay, and it's a picture of my face. I'll show that after I send the prompt. Can you please change my hair color to black and add red glasses to my face? And let's see what it does. Now, here's my original image. This is my face. Now, there's no personal data on here besides the fact that I am allowing it to use my personal image. And after you have shared content with artificial intelligence, you can delete the input and the output. Now, this image of myself is actually used on other websites on the internet, so I'm not sharing anything that I consider private. So let's see, I've asked it to change my hair color from blonde to black and also to add glasses to my face. And let's see how well it does with doing this. Now, I've used ChatGPT many times to create images from nothing and then also to alter images like we just did with the birds and adding a squirrel. Now, again, if this was a child, I would not share an image of a child, either my child or anybody else's child. But because this image is a picture that I have on the internet, I am comfortable with sharing it with ChatGPT and just asking it to alter the picture. Now, this one's taking a little bit of time, and that's probably because I asked very, very specific input, which was changing my hair color and actually adding glasses to my face. So let's see how well it does. Now, after we practice here with ChatGPT, we'll also be looking at Copilot, Gemini, and Claude. And here is, oh, okay, yeah, I have very dark hair now. Okay, so here's the original image. Okay, and I asked ChatGPT to change my hair color, and it definitely changed my hair color. And then also it did put red glasses on. Now, whether you like the changes or not, if you don't like the changes, my hair is very, very dark, so not much dimension in my hair, but the glasses are excellently done. Now I can tell ChatGPT if I like this by giving it a thumbs up, or I can say I dislike the image. I could also ask it to do it again by giving it another prompt, such as, I don't like my hair color black, please change it to brown, or please change it back to the original picture, but keep the glasses. So I could also copy it if I wanted to copy what ChatGPT has created for me. Now we're going to ask it to completely make up its own picture. Can you please create an image of a beach with a whale in the ocean? And that's pretty specific. And let's see if it will do it. Now, this is not using an existing picture. I'm asking it to complete a completely new image of a beach with a whale in the ocean. So let's see what it will create for this. Now, at some point, I will be stopped by ChatGPT, and it will tell me I have asked it enough inputs, I've asked it enough questions, and it will usually tell me a time when I can then start using it again. And that's again because I have a free account on ChatGPT. Now, sometimes I've been able to ask it multiple questions at a time, 5, 6 questions. And sometimes when I'm asking it to create images, I can only maybe ask it 3 or 4 questions at a time before it times out and says, come back later. Okay, which is what it did right now. You're out of image creations for now. Upgrade your plan to continue or wait for more tomorrow at 12:25. So I have to wait a full 24 hours in order to create or generate more images. Now, I asked it to create a beach with a whale in the ocean, and that's exactly what it did. So artificially created image of a beach and a whale. Now, if I had not run out of time or image creations that I'm able to ask it, I could have asked it to put in a boat or make it a stormy sky or many, many other things. But I have now run out of image creations. So I would have to either upgrade to a paid account or I can come back tomorrow and ask it to create me more pictures. So ChatGPT, as you can see, is really good with image creation. Now, again, this is the original image. This is the image with the squirrel. I don't really know if it looks like the squirrel is kind of hanging onto this tree, but it does, they did a really nice job. AI did a nice job of having the tail curl around here. And this, well, it did what I asked it to. It definitely changed my hair color to black. And this is a beach with a whale in the ocean. So this is ChatGPT. Now let's see if I can ask it just a question. I'm going to ask it to summarize a particular event in history. Can you please summarize the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989? Now, I'm asking a very specific prompt. Can you please summarize the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989? And let's see what it will give me. Now, this is not image creation, and this is a historical event, and I'm asking it to summarize or to shorten what happened with the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. So I'm getting two responses here from ChatGPT, response number 1 and response number 2. And both of them are summaries, so you can see they're not too long. And what ChatGPT wants to know is, do I prefer response number 1 that it has created for me, or do I prefer response number 2? Now, by telling ChatGPT which of these responses I like better, the other one will disappear, and ChatGPT is learning my preferences. So I'm actually going to choose very, very similar summaries, but I'm just going to choose one. I prefer this response. You'll notice that the other response kind of got hidden behind the arrow here. And now you can still see my input. You can see my output, what ChatGPT summarized for me. I can copy it if I wanted to copy it and paste it into an email or a document. I can give it a rate my response. I can share it with somebody else, or I can tell it to try again. So not only great for image creation and changing images, but this is the summary of a very, very complicated historical event to a summary with bullet points and short sentences. So a good example of how you can take something very, very complicated and summarize it into something that's a bit more understandable and short. Okay, so this is ChatGPT. And again, if you're interested in upgrading or paying, ChatGPT has different levels for personal use and then also for business use. It really just depends on how you are going to be using ChatGPT on a daily basis, and if you are okay with hitting a limit to how many times and how many questions you can ask before you have to wait until you can use the platform again. Okay, so this is ChatGPT, and the next one we're going to look at is actually Copilot. Now, Copilot is created by Microsoft, and it is meant to integrate with Microsoft products, such as Bing, which is a search engine, Microsoft search engine, as well as Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. So if you were working on a Word document, and you wanted help editing the document or summarizing the document, writing the document. If you were working on a presentation and you wanted it to create you a presentation using Microsoft PowerPoint, you could ask it to create an outline or create a graphic. And then also if you were working on an Excel spreadsheet and you wanted it to help you utilize formulas in your spreadsheet, it can do that as well. Now, I'm going to ask it just a very, very simple prompt. I'm going to ask it to write me a letter, and I'm not going to give it too many details in the prompt, but I am going to keep my prompt rather simple. Please write me a thank you letter for a customer service job interview for a full-time job at Amazon. Okay, now that's very specific. Please write me a thank you letter for a customer service job interview for a full-time job at Amazon. And I'm going to click the arrow here, and here we go. So it says, congratulations on the interview opportunity. And then it tells me a little bit about what a thank you letter is, a great way to reinforce my interest in the position, the role, and highlight the customer service skills you discussed. Now, again, this is just a suggestion. And then what you would do is you would copy or alter, update, or edit what the AI has created for you to make it more in your own words. So you would be able to add more details about the job interview that you just had. But you can see it's thank you for the interview is the subject of this thank you letter. Dear hiring manager. Now, if you've already interviewed for a job, you would change hiring manager in the letter to the person's name, the name of the person who had interviewed you for the position. And then this is a pretty simple and basic letter. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me about the full-time customer service position at Amazon. I enjoyed learning more about the role, the team, and Amazon's commitment to delivering excellent customer service. Now, any of what AI has suggested here for you, you would be able to edit it so that it reflects your own voice. You could be specific about something that you talked about in the interview, why you want to work at Amazon, but you'll notice it's a short level. That's what a short letter. It's what I asked it to do. And if you like it, you can, oh, it looks like it gave me two. Here's a shorter version. So subject, thank you, shorter, only 2 paragraphs here, best regards. Now you'll see that my name is listed here in the output, the answer that it created, because my name is listed here. I am signed into my Microsoft 365 Copilot account, and it's using my full name, which is why my name is included here in the letter that it created for me. So 2 options, just like ChatGPT, where I got the first choice and the second choice. I have 2 choices here. So this one's a little bit longer, 1, 2, 3 paragraphs, as well as a closing for the thank you letter. And then this one is only 2 paragraphs. So if you wanted to copy these, you could click the copy here and copy these and then choose whichever one you wanted to use. If you like what it created, you can tell it that you liked it so that it's learning your preferences. If you don't like it, you can tell it, no, I don't like it. If you wanted to try again, you can click the try again button. Now over here, it is also giving me prompts. Do you want them to make it more formal, add a specific compliment, or shorten the letter further? So you can go back and forth with Copilot until you get the letter exactly the way you want it. Now, I would not give the AI my phone number or my email address. I would copy this message and paste it into an email or a document and then add that information separately. I would also not give it the name of the person who interviewed me. I would add that after I copied this and pasted it into a document or an email. Now, I use Copilot mainly to help me summarize or create with Microsoft products. So Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint. Now, if you want to do this hands-on, I highly recommend that you join one of the Trellus computer classes so that we can create a Microsoft account for you so that you can use Microsoft Copilot. It is really, really integrated into Microsoft products. That's what its intention is for, to help you with Microsoft products. And again, over here in the chat on this toolbar, this menu bar over here on the left side, there's a chat section which will have a list of all of the inputs, those questions, those chats that I've had with Copilot previously, so that if I wanted to go back and reread the question that I asked it and the answer that it provided, it is listed here in a history. Okay, so that's Microsoft Copilot. Now let's look at Google Gemini. Now, you may or may not have used this already because this is one of the Google apps. And if you have a Google account and a Gmail address, you might notice this under the 9 dots. Now, I'm going to go to my Google account and I'm going to open up my Gmail. It's going to open up my email, and over here is the 9 dots. And if I scroll down, here is Gemini. So I'm going to click on Gemini, and once I click on Gemini, it's going to open the Gemini app. Now, I am using this in an internet browser, but you can also use this on your device as well. So let me close some of these tabs. And I'm going to close this so I don't have 2 tabs open and go back to Gemini. Now, Gemini I usually use for internet searching. So if you were shopping or if you were looking for travel information, if you wanted a summary of a Google search, because again, this is a Google product and it's integrated with Google Apps. So Google Search, and Google Docs and Google Sheets and Google Slides. Now I'm going to ask it the same question that I actually asked previously about to summarize the fall of the Berlin Wall. So I'm going to ask it, can you please summarize the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989? Now let's take a look at what Gemini does with pretty much the same prompt that I asked the other AI platform. We also asked ChatGPT and it gave me 2 choices. And let's look at that one again. So this was the summary. I had asked ChatGPT, can you please summarize the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989? And I got a very short summary with bullet points and even summarized into 1 sentence. Now, let's look at what Google Gemini did. And also a very, very short summary here, as well as an image, a sourced image. So this is actually a Getty image of the fall of the Berlin Wall. And then we have some bullet points here. So key factors leading to the collapse, the catalyst, the night that the Berlin Wall fell, the consequences, and then information on related historical topics. Now, quite a bit more detail. This is a summary. It's summarized in bullet points, including an image, which I didn't ask it for, but it did provide that. So very different. The details, what actually happened in this historical event will be the same. It's just summarized slightly differently. This one is using Gemini. So interesting, very, very interesting. Now, if you are asking AI questions like this to summarize a historical event or a concept for you or an article or a book, I usually try multiple AIs. I might try ChatGPT and then I also might try Gemini, just so that I can see how each of these different AI platforms is giving me an output that they're going to be different. But for a historical event, it's not going to change the historical event, but it will summarize the historical event different. And you will find a preference. The more you use these AIs, you will find a preference in which one you prefer by how it is giving you an output to your input. So let's ask it another question. I'm going to ask it to summarize a book. Can you please summarize Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen? Now, I've read this book. It's not a short book. It's not an overly long book, but I am asking it to summarize one of the most well-known English language books, Pride and Prejudice. So it's giving me even information about the book, such as when it was published, celebrated novels in English literature, very short sentence on who it's about. Oh my goodness, look, it's even found a picture from that period in time when the book is set, a plot summary with bullet points. the themes, and then links to more information about the author, Jane Austen. So very nice. It's still a rather short summary, which is what I asked for about the book in its entirety. Now, if I like it, I can say good response. If I don't like it, if I wanted to redo it, if I wanted to share and export it so I could send it to somebody, if I wanted to copy it. So you have lots of different options. This is, of course, Google Gemini. Now, I could ask the same question. I'm actually going to copy that question that I asked it, and I'm going to ask it in ChatGPT. And let's see what ChatGPT gives me for the same input, that same question. Okay, so very similar, and I have now run out of time, I've hit my limit even with chats and files and images. So this is the last one I'd be able to ask it. Now, this is a bit of a longer summary than Gemini created, but it is a summary of the story, the main couple, the perspectives, and the themes, and then a very short summary just in one sentence. So again, the more you use these, the more you will prefer perhaps one or two of these over the others. So, okay, so that is Gemini, and now let's look at Claude. So Claude is from the students that I've worked with, including college students, it's very used for those who are in academia, for those who are studying. It's very popular for research. So I'm actually going to ask Claude the same question. Now I am signed in to my Claude account. I created a free account on Claude as well. I have a Copilot account because I have a Microsoft 365 account at Trellus. My ChatGPT account is free. I signed up for a free account on ChatGPT. I have a Microsoft Copilot account because that is what we use at Trellus, Microsoft 365. And then my Gemini is through my free Google account, my Gmail account. And then I created a free account. It says here, free plan using Claude. Now I'm actually going to ask it the exact same question that I asked Gemini and ChatGPT to summarize the book Pride and Prejudice. So I'm going to ask it that and see what summary it gives me on that. I'm also going to ask it about the fall of the Berlin Wall. So here's a summary. It gives me the setup for the story, the plot of the story, quite a bit longer, the resolution of the story and the themes of the story. Now, very similar to the other AIs, I can copy it. I can actually have it read aloud. Now, that's really neat, especially if you were practicing English as a language. You can have it read it out loud for you. I can say good response, bad response, or I can ask it to retry it. Now, I'm not actually going to turn on the volume and read this aloud, but that's really nice. That's an option. Don't think I saw that as an option. Yes, I do. Okay, so here it is in ChatGPT. I just had to click the three dots. And did they have that as an option in Gemini? Let's see. And listen, yes. Okay, so they all had that. It was just a little bit more visible here in Claude. It's the little icon for reading aloud. So all three or all of the platforms had that. Actually, did Copilot have that? Let's see if Copilot has an option to read aloud. Yes, it does. Okay, so all four of these platforms have it. Some of the icons for reading aloud, the output, that response from AI is a little bit easier to find. It's easier to find here in Claude. It's one of the first icons. So a little bit longer of a summary. Now I'm going to ask it the same question I asked the other platforms about the fall of the Berlin Wall. Summarize the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. Okay. And you can see how quickly this is happening. So here's the thought process, the fall of the Berlin Wall, 1989, the background, the build up to the fall, the night that the Berlin Wall fell, the aftermath, the significance, and again, here we have copy, read aloud, good response, bad response, or retry. So again, the more that you use these AI platforms, the more that you might have a preference for one or the other. Now, this little icon here would open the sidebar where you would be able to see the history of what I have asked on it, as well as just create a new chat. Now, I have used Claude on the free plan, and so far I have not hit a limit, but I have not uploaded any pictures. I have not tried a file, so we're going to do that together right now. I'm going to add a picture and see if it will do what some of the other platforms were. I'm going to actually upload the cardinal picture, and let's see how much of it we could have it change. Can you please, it's going to be polite, add a squirrel to this image. Now, the last time I had tried this, it was not generating images or altering images. So let's see what it's going to do for me or not do. Okay, there we go. So this is Claude, and it is still not doing editing photos. So it does say it can create a brand new illustration or image featuring that. And let's see if that would be something that I can do for free. And I'm going to say yes. I'm going to answer its question. Yes, please generate a new image. Okay, let's see if it will then generate a new image. Still, it looks like it's going to be an illustrated version of a squirrel and cardinals. So maybe not very realistic looking. Perching birds on a branch, and looks like I can be notified when it's done. We'll give it a few seconds here to see what it's going to illustrate. It's gonna more of a drawing format for this. Oh, okay. Oh, that's really actually cute. So definitely more a squirrel joining the cardinals. Okay, which one's the squirrel? I don't see a squirrel. But oh, there's the squirrel. Okay, there's the tail. So an illustrated, that's actually pretty neat. So there's the squirrel and there's the two birds. So very different from what ChatGPT did, which was actually altering an existing image. This one, it kind of looks cartoony, so but clever, very clever. So limits on what you can do with image creation and editing on Claude. Again, I've used Claude much more for academic reasons, research, writing, and editing. But another option for artificial intelligence that you can use and try and see if you like. All right, I am going to stop sharing now. I hope that this AI introduction was useful for you to explore these AIs. And just as a reminder, what we looked at today was we looked at ChatGPT, we looked at Microsoft Copilot, we looked at Google Gemini, and we looked at Claude. So if you have any further questions or you want to work on these during a computer class, then please register and enroll in computer classes at Trellus, and we will work on these AI tools more hands-on in the computer lab at Trellus. Just as a reminder, there is only one more summer workshop, and that is next week, and it is creating with Canva. So thank you so much for joining this 5th workshop of the summer series. I'm going to stop sharing now, and I'm also going to stop recording. Thanks again for watching.